Professor Neil Ferguson, the dude that got every single health model spectacularly wrong in the past.
Guys, this is the in-depth research we're gonna get. This guy based his analysis off a fucking tweet. He didn't bring up any articles or anything like that. Just a damn tweet. And aren't these like the worst case scenario when it comes to these viruses? I mean, wasn't there some type of quarantine when it came to all of them, and that's why the viruses didn't kill many people? That's like me saying the fire could kill everybody in the building, so people run out, and then he's like, see, fire can't kill. Your analysis sucks.
Was trusted by the UK government to create the coronavirus model that led to the warning that 500,000 Brits would die without lockdown. Turns out Professor Lockdown didn't pay any attention to his own lockdown and flagrantly violated it numerous times to have his married mother of two mistress travel halfway across London to bang him.
What is he trying to say here? Because this guy is an adulterer and made somebody's wife cheat with him, he's somehow we should just ignore the fact that over 200,000 people got corona in the UK and like 30,000 people died from it. Now, this is with the quarantine. Imagine how many people would die without the quarantine where it could spread. I mean, that's like over a 10% kill rate in the UK, but this guy got his Jimmy wet, so we shouldn't care about this? I don't know.
Why is it that the most vehemently zealous advocates for controlling other people's behaviour always get caught with their pants down? Professor Pants Down will face no police action. You sit on that bench though, pleb, and you'll get fined.
How are these two things connected in any way? Are they having sex on a bench? And yes, some people are hypocritical. I don't even know how he's a hypocrite. Is he saying that adultery spreads corona? I don't know. Or corona comes from adultery? Like, these are just two non sequiturs. Like, they had sex in their own, what I'm assuming is their own private house where they could not, like, they didn't have sex in the public. So I don't know how this connects. And yeah, okay. I mean, some cops break the law. It still doesn't mean that cops shouldn't enforce the law. Get over it.
His mistress was a hardcore left-wing activist, pro-Greta Thunberg climate change virtue signaller. No doubt that in between bonking her boffin lover, she was tutting at others for not practicing proper social distancing. She even complained that the lockdown was putting a strain on her marriage. Yeah, what was probably putting more of a strain on the marriage than you ignoring the lockdown was you screwing another man who isn't your husband.
Well, first of all, it's her husband's fault for marrying a whore. I mean, she's a liberal, so you knew the indicators. You should have vetted her properly. A dog will always return to a kennel. That's how I feel about it. But yeah, social distancing have to do with mostly the public, not the private. You could still have people over at your home as long as it's under 50 people, or at least that's how they're doing it in the States.
Husband, when she's not shagging Professor Pants Down, she's probably outside every Thursday at 8 p.m. applauding the NHS.
Just finished clapping. Hands are pretty sore, but by God, my neighbours are in no doubt as to how much I care about the NHS. Hashtag clap for the NHS.
It's 2021, we're still in lockdown, and clapping the NHS is made mandatory.
Wow, I would think that you Europeans would be the ones who's most adamant about quarantine since, there's a bad history with germs and all. But yeah, now he's moving into speculation and talking about the NHA. Whatever, man. I mean, are you salty that people still support like the government? I mean, if they didn't and the government just let people out without no quarantining and 500,000 people die, you would probably say it's some type of conspiracy to get rid of the working class or some bullshit like that.
Hashtag keep the lockdown was trending #1 on UK Twitter yesterday. Why not hashtag keep the lockdown until 2030? Another 10 years should do it. I mean, there'll be nothing left of the economy. The outside world will resemble a Mad Max hellscape. We'll all end up having to survive on squirrels. Half the population will starve. But hey, at least there'll be fewer COVID deaths.
Is this guy that much of an idiot? Okay, let's say that your son just had a seizure and doctors want to keep him in for like 3 days to make sure that it doesn't return or figure out the cause. Would you be like, as a father, hey, keep him for 3 days? Why don't you keep him for 5 years? I mean, of course, his legs will be soft and he's probably going to have bedridden sores, but hey, at least he'll be fine. I mean, just a dick move, bruh.
If some of these lockdown advocates had their way, it would go on forever. We get it. You're lazy middle-class virtue signalling sponges. I know a guy. He's an immigrant. He works as a barman. Half his income is in tips. He wants to work. He's going broke. He's struggling to pay his rent.
Dude, aren't you worth like, I don't know, like $1 million, $1 to $5 million? If you're so concerned with paying his rent, why don't you pay it for him? And why did he have to say he was an immigrant? He must have been a white one, because if it was a Pakistani immigrant, he would probably not give a fuck. But whatever, man. I mean, come on. And who are these people who's going like, have the lockdown happen forever? It's like a kid who doesn't get his dessert because he have to eat his dinner. And he's like, if it's up to you guys, I'll never get my cake. Loser.
Whereas you lot are happy to collect your government-covered paycheck as you sit on your arses sunbathing. Meanwhile, working-class people who actually want and need to work are losing their livelihoods. Oh, don't worry, Amazon and Tesco will be just fine. Meanwhile, family-run businesses are disappearing.
I hate when people like this use mom and pop shops as a battering ram towards Amazon. Amazon employs more people than mom and pop shops ever did, like, to tell you the truth. I mean, come on. If you hate Amazon so much, exclusively shop at mom and pop shops, or shut the fuck up. I bet ever since Amazon popped up, you haven't visited, or even if you did visit a mom and pop shop, you only visited once every 6 months. Like, I can tell.
Pick one of your family members and tell them, I am willing to offer your life in exchange for my freedom and economy.
You do know that poverty causes death, right? Professor Peter Nielsen says the economic impact of lockdown will cause more deaths than COVID. Data analysts in South Africa, which used the same lockdown model as the UK, found that poverty caused as a result of the lockdown would cause at least 29 times more deaths than the coronavirus.
Dying from corona is an option, but poverty is a choice, especially in these trying times. How come the government won't just give people $4,000? I don't think at this time businesses have to worry about inflation because the corona has basically shut down everything and affected businesses to the point where they'll take any money in assets. So how come South Africa and the UK just don't give people 4,000 to 5,000 pounds so they can have a safe net when it comes to their poverty? How come they don't do that instead of just let people die from corona? That seems fucking retarded.
1.4 million people are expected to die from untreated TB infections because of the focus on coronavirus. According to Professor Richard Sullivan, because cancer victims can't get screening or treatment, there'll be more excess cancer deaths in the UK than total coronavirus deaths.
This is such a weird thing to bring up because tuberculosis and cancer, unlike corona, cannot be spread easily. Now, tuberculosis can be spread, but it's very hard to catch tuberculosis. And cancer is something that naturally happens in the body. And the reason why these cancer victims are dying is because we have new corona cases. And if we have more corona spreading, then more other people would die because of cancer and pre-existing conditions because corona patients are taking up all the beds. Are you kidding me?
A new study by the University of East Anglia confirms that stay-at-home orders had little effect on curbing coronavirus outbreaks in Europe. Martin Kulldorff, a professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School, says delaying herd immunity is costing lives. Sweden, which didn't lock down, has the same death rate as the UK and the same R infection
Wait,
rate.
how is this a good thing? Sweden only has 10 million people. The UK has 6 times the population of Sweden. So that's literally means that Sweden is equal to a nation 6 times its population in actually confirmed cases. Like, that's disgusting, man. That shows that that shows that Sweden should probably stick to like quarantining. I mean, damn. They have the same rate as a country 6 times its population. That's absolutely fucking atrocious.
Some cuck-down supporters are not happy with us being under house arrest. No, they want the law to be even more draconian. A poll found that 40% wanted a total ban on outdoor exercise and 60% wanted the closure of all parks. I'm sure the same people would support a government ban on opening your frigging window.
Don't give them any ideas, but for real, since like the UK is barely bigger than Texas, I presume that the coronavirus could spread far easier than any other country. So yeah, maybe it is a smart idea to ban like exercising outside and, you know, going to public parks since it can easily spread in your very small country. But yeah, hey.
Hill Carnival has been cancelled. Thousands of middle-class white hipster women won't be able to prove they're not racist by allowing a black man to aggressively dry hump them in public.
Wow, I'm about to collect this guy's tears in a jar and then wait a few days and then have a new salt shaker with all this crying and bitching. Jesus Christ, I mean, are you mad, bruh? Damn, like, and he gets more racist and racist, like, as the video goes on. It's pretty damn sad.
Life after lockdown? Live in a pod, work in a pod, socialise in a pod.
Classy outdoor dining in the age of social distancing. Small glass cabins built for 2 or 3 people. Waiters wear gloves and transparent face shields and use a long board to serve dishes to ensure minimal physical contact with customers. The booths certainly look glamorous.
I ain't gonna lie, these pods look fucking amazing. Here in the States, we can't even eat in. We have to take stuff out. These pods look absolutely amazing. And people live in these pods. I would live in a pod like this because I don't like sleeping in the streets. Like, y'all need to see Skid Row. It's fucking atrocious. I'd rather have people live in the pods and live on a street and stuff like that. And these are not even pods. These are glorified, like, greenhouses. Small greenhouses for, like, people. These look cool, by the way.
Glorified greenhouses, yes, so glamorous. Also, you know in summer that greenhouses get hot? Like really hot. Unless you're planning to bake the customers and put them on the menu, that's probably going to be an issue. Our brave new normal post-COVID world, permanently imprisoned in some form of pod. Because apparently, after March 2020, humans suddenly stopped having functioning immune systems.
Well, here's where we end the video. And a funny thing about the whole functional immune systems things is having a functional immune system may actually make things worse. Because scientists have speculated the reason why the Spanish flu was so deadly is because your body would actually fill up with liquids because your body would overreact to the Spanish flu and causing a backing of liquids to actually be filled in your lungs. Like, it's a very interesting thing that scientists discovered about the Spanish flu. So if you actually have like a non-functional immune system, you are actually quite immune to much of the backlog and actual stuff that happened with the Spanish flu. But yeah, I mean, yeah, most people have functional immune systems, but there are people who don't, like the elderly and people with pre-existing conditions. So we have to look out for them, buddy. I know it sucks, but yeah, please subscribe to the video, like, and share this. Bye.